Vidhitad grinatam tesham muninam yogadharminam prathinandya jagadedam vikunda nilayo vibhu. Lord Brahma said, after thus congratulating the sages for their nice words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose abode is the kingdom of God, spoke as follows. Sri Bhagavanu Vacha Etho Tau Parashadau Mayam Jayo Vijaya Evacha Katarati Krityamam Yadvo Bhavakratam Atikramam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, these attendants of mine, Jai and Vijay, by name, have committed a great offense against you because of ignoring me. Yastvetayor trito dando Bhavadbhiramam anuvratai Saevanud matosmabhir Munayo devahelanat. O great sages, I approve of the punishment that you who are devoted to me have meted out to them. Tadva parasadamanyantha Brahmadevam param hime Sadhityatma kritam manye yat swapumbhir asatkrita. To me, the Brahman is the highest and most beloved personality. The disrespect shown by my attendants has actually been displayed by me, because the doormen are my servitors. I take this to be an offense by myself. Therefore, I seek your forgiveness for the incident that has arisen. Yanamani chagrinati lokavritye kritagasi so sadhu vadas tad kirtam hanti pacham ivamaya. A wrong act committed by a servant leads people in general to blame his master, just as a spot of white leprosy on any part of the body pollutes all of the skin. Anyone in the entire world, even down to the Chandala, who lives by cooking and eating the flesh of the dog, is immediately purified if he takes bath adhering through the ear the glorification of my name, fame, etc. Now you have realized me without doubt. Therefore I will not hesitate to lop my own arm off if its conduct is found hostile to you. The Lord continued, because I am the servitor of my devotees, my lotus feet have become so sacred that they immediately wipe out all sin. And I have acquired such a disposition that the goddess of fortune does not leave me, even though I have no attachment for her, and others praise her beauty and observe sacred vows to secure from her even a slight favor. Do not enjoy the oblations offered by the sacrifices in the sacrificial fire, which is one of my own mouths, with the same relish as I do the delicacies overflowing with ghee, which are offered to the mouths of the Brahmins who have dedicated to me the results of their activities, who are ever satisfied with my prasad. I am the master of my unobstructed internal energy, and the water of the Ganges is the remnants left after my feet are washed. That water sanctifies the three worlds along with Lord Shiva, who bears it on his head. If I can take the dust of the feet of the Vaishnava on my head, who will refuse to do the same? Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Difference between the internal and external energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is that in the internal energy, or in the spiritual world, all the opulences are undisturbed, whereas in the external energy, all the opulences are temporary manifestations. The Lord's supremacy is equal in both the spiritual and material worlds. But the spiritual world is called the kingdom of God, and the material world is the kingdom of Maya. The relationship between the Lord and his devotee is transcendently beautiful. As the devotee thinks that it is due to being a devotee of the Lord that he is elevated in all good qualities, so the Lord also thinks that it is because of his devotion to the servitor that all his transcendental glories have increased. In other words, as the devotee is always anxious to render service to the Lord, so the Lord is ever anxious to render service to the devotee. The Lord admits herein that although he certainly has the quality that anyone who receives a slight particle of the dust of his lotus feet becomes at once a great personality, this greatness is due to his affection for his devotee. It is because of this affection that the goddess of fortune does not leave him, and that not only one but many thousands of goddesses of fortune engage in his service. In the material world, simply to get a little favor from the goddess of fortune, people observe many rigid regulations of austerity and penance. The Lord cannot tolerate any inconvenience on the part of the devotee. He is therefore famous as Bhaktavatsal. The Supreme Lord is here revealing his heart in regard to his indebtedness, his gratitude, his love for his devotee. He is explaining to the four Kumaras that my servants have committed an offense against you, and I am responsible. Because any mark, any misconduct, any blemish in the character of a devotee is directly seen and accepted as a blemish against the master of that devotee. And therefore a devotee must be very, very careful. Even if such a devotee is not concerned with his or her own spiritual character, we should know that we are all representing our spiritual master. We are representing all the previous acharyas in our line. We are representing Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna, Sri Radharani, and factually our character reflects their prestige in this world. It is a fact, when a disciple misbehaves, the world will see it as a defect in their spiritual master. And similarly, when a disciple behaves in a glorious way, full of devotion, according to the proper standards of Krishna consciousness, then the world will see that as the glory of their spiritual master. Srila Prabhupada used to say that you can tell a proper disciple by that person, that man who is a proper gentleman. Someone asked Prabhupada in New York City, how do we know who your disciples are? He says, because they are gentlemen. For a materialistic person, they cannot see spiritual qualities. They have no perception of the spiritual quality. But they can perceive the manifestation of spiritual qualities on the level of material existence in the form of people being gentlemen. People are honest. They are pious. They are caring. They are self-controlled, properly behaved, not argumentative. A materialistic person, if he sees those qualities, he is attracted to Krishna. Of course, on a higher level, a devotee knows that this is basically sattva guna. But unless we are behaving on the platform of sattva guna, then materialistic people will never understand, accept, or appreciate our spiritual master. Therefore, Shuddha Sattva means to act in the loving service of the Lord. But in order to preach, we must set a proper standard and some proper example for everyone to follow. When Srila Prabhupada first installed Krishna Balaram, Radha Sham Sundar, Shri Shri Nitai Gaura in Vrindavan, it was on Ram Navami the installation took place. I remember about that time he explained to us, his disciples, that here in Vrindavan, if you really want to glorify your spiritual master, you have to live the quality of life of the 6 Goswamis. He said, I want 10 men living here in Vrindavan who are establishing the principles by their exemplary behavior of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. This will glorify your spiritual master. This will glorify your whole line of great disciples, acharyas. So therefore, the greatest expression of our love for our Guru Maharaj and for all the gifts that those great Vaishnavas have given us is to live an exemplary life that will bring glory to them. Anyone can say, Jai Prabhupada, Jai Gaura Nitai. That is not very difficult. But if we really want to glorify them, we must live by their teachings. That is true glorification. To live the life of a humble servant, to live in such a way of gentleness and devotion that people will think, oh, such a personality. What a wonderful guru he must have. What a wonderful guru she must have. Let me read those books. Let me understand the teachings. Let me become like this. This is real service. This is real glorification. So here we find that Lord Narayan is accepting that Jai and Vijay, they have misbehaved, they have committed an offense, he says all the blame comes on me. They are my servants. I am responsible for the activities of my servants. And wherever we go, in whatever we do, whether we're sitting on a bus or a train, whether we're walking in the street, whether we're engaging in our business transactions with others in this world, whether we're preaching, whether we're just relating to our family members, our relatives, in every aspect of life we should know that we are representing our Gurudev. And if we act wrong and speak wrong, we are causing them to commit offense against our spiritual master. And if we act right and speak right, we are engaging them in glorifying our spiritual master in Krishna. And this is a great responsibility. Jai and Vijay, they offended the four Kumaras. And the four Kumaras, wanting to teach them a good lesson, began to curse them. Curse them to fall down from the spiritual sky into the material world. This is very symbolic. That they have lost their position at the gates of Vaikuntha to come to this material world because of their inattentiveness to properly treat a Vaishnava, because of this offense. This is the first offense to the holy name of the Lord, to disrespect the devotees of the Lord who are spreading the glories of the Lord all over the world. And when Lord Narayan saw this, although their offense was not so great, after all, they were actually doing it in service. They were not simply envious. They were thinking that, who are these children? We should not allow these children to disturb Lord Narayan, because he's busy with Lakshmi Devi. And you know how children are, how they disturb people. Just like in Srimad Bhagavatam class, so many times we are disturbed by children. They start crying, or they start jumping, or they start running, or they start pulling people's hairs and everything like this. And the mother just has to take them away, right? So like that, they didn't want these little naked children to be disturbing the Lord. Get out of here. You are too young. Come back when you become older and have... Come back when you're old enough to wear clothes. They misjudged that actually the four Kumaras were not actually young. They were actually very old and wise, but by their mystic power, they kept that body. Just like the four Kumaras, they were born from Lord Brahma at the beginning of creation. This is how old they are. They were born at the very beginning of creation, and Lord Brahma wanted them to be Prajapatis, to marry, to produce children, and to just help him populate the universe. And they said, no, we are going to be brahmacharis. We do not have any desire for this procreation of children. We don't want any of this marriage business. We will be brahmacharis. And therefore, Haribo. And Brahma became very angry. You are disrespecting your guru and your father. And from his anger, his third eye, from between his eyebrows, Lord Shiva came out. That is how he took birth in this world. Meanwhile, the four Kumaras were thinking, they looked around at this world and they thought, my God, this sex attraction is so powerful. Togrihakshetra sutapti vitaya janasya moho yamaham mameti. Bhagavatam explains that this attraction between man and woman is the all-pervading, powerful force that keeps everyone entangled in material existence. And when male and female come together, the hard knot of material attachment is bound tightly within one's heart. And that hard knot makes one attached not only to one's wife and to one's husband, but to children and to land and to home and to furniture and to animals, family animals, and to prestige and jewelry and all these things. The list goes on endlessly. And thus one comes into this trapping that I am this body and these things are mine, and one falls into great illusion. So the four Kumars could see this. So therefore they decided, when you attain a certain age, that sex attraction begins to come into your body. So therefore we will remain at the age of 4. Therefore we never have to deal with this condition of life. So for this reason they remained 4 years old only, Naistika Brahmacharis. I think Tat was training Madhva to become like this. We have seen the results of Tattva Prabhu's association. Very well. So when the 4 Kumaras came to Vaikuntha, Jai and Vijay were thinking, these 4 little children, restless, mischievous children, they'll just cause disturbance. They'll cause a mess. They'll start breaking everything in Vaikuntha. Keep them out. But you cannot judge a book by looking at its cover, they say. These were very, very deep, scholarly, devoted people. So we cannot judge a person simply by their appearance necessarily. Srila Prabhupada often warned, there is no question of American Vaishnavas or Indian Vaishnavas or male Vaishnavas or female Vaishnavas or Vaishnavas from this caste or that caste or this color skin or that color skin. This is all material. To judge a Vaishnava by these considerations is a great offense. Anyone who is a devotee of the Lord is a Vaishnava. They are transcendental to all of these material considerations. Arche Vishnu Shiladir Guru Shum Naramatir Vaishnavi Jati Buddhi. The Shastra says, the one who sees the deity in the temple is made of wood or stone. One who sees the spiritual master as an ordinary human being, and one who sees a Vaishnava according to any material designations, Jati Buddhi. Their consciousness, their intelligence is coming from hell. Anyone who is taking shelter of the holy name of the Lord, anyone who is taking shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and who is endeavoring to follow those instructions, that person should be seen in the light of his exalted position. And to judge that person by any material consideration is an offense. It is hellish mentality. This person is European or American. This person is man or woman. This person is black skin, light skin, yellow skin, red skin. This person is educated or uneducated. To judge a person who is a Vaishnava by these considerations is an offense. Even if this person is born of an untouchable caste, if you consider that he's an outcast and he's a Vaishnava, it is a great offense. And therefore, Jai and Vijay, they made this mistake. They were judging the four Kumaras on the bodily concept. And therefore, when the four Kumaras cursed them to teach them a good lesson, Lord Narayan came running to the scene. He said, whatever curse you're putting on them, I deserve it, not them. They are my servants. A servant is not responsible. It is the master that is responsible. I am their master. Therefore, if you like, I'll cut off my own arms to atone for their offense. This is the love of the master for his servants. So, with this understanding, we should know that our words and our behavior in our life is the real way that we can show our love and our glorification to those great personalities who we are so infinitely indebted to. It is not a cheap thing. To really glorify your spiritual master is not a cheap thing. It is a very costly thing. It means living a life of purity, of devotion, of proper conduct. It means living and speaking in such a way that whoever we're speaking to, whoever we're associating with, that those people will appreciate our Guru Maharaj and Krishna, and ultimately Krishna's name. If our behavior attracts the minds of people as being saintly, and we tell them, it is because I am chanting the name of God and serving my Gurudev, they will think, oh, this name of God is very great. Let my children chant these names of God. Let me chant these names of God. Let everyone chant these names of God if this is the result. The greatest way to spread the glories of the holy name is to simply exemplify the qualities of a Vaishnava. That will attract everyone to the holy name. All innocent people. And, of course, in this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, this age where people just cannot get along, everyone is so greedy, everyone has so many selfish ambitions. When devotees amongst themselves become selfless, when devotees amongst themselves express affection, concern toward one another, in a selfless spirit of service, this completely contradicts the whole society around us. And when people see this, they think, my God, how is this possible? These people are actually united? In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, these people are actually united. They're singing together, they're dancing together, they're serving one another. They all have a common purpose, a common focus, which is not their own, but their Guru's. They are all united in this way. This chanting of the holy name must be a wonderful thing. Look at what it is doing to these people's lives. And if they come and they see that we're fighting and we're arguing and everybody's just doing what's good for them, not concerned with others, then people will think, so what is the use of this chanting of the holy name? I'm doing the same thing. Everybody else is too. So it is the qualities of a Vaishnava. It is the qualities of our interrelationships with one another, and it is the quality of how we are serving society in devotion to Krishna that will actually attract people to the dignity of the holy name and our spiritual master. And this is why we must strictly follow the 4 regulative principles. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating. This is why we must avoid, like the plague, prajalpa, nonsense talk, criticism, gossip, speaking about all worldly affairs. This is why we must really be in the mood of servitude. We must put aside all our selfish ambitions. What we are speaking of now is absolutely preliminary to entering into the realm of the higher rasas of Brajabhumi. By simply living in this way and properly chanting the holy name of the Lord, the name itself will reveal all of these higher aspects of transcendental realization. But in the meanwhile, we must learn that in order to get the reciprocation of the mercy of the holy name, we must properly glorify the holy name by regularly chanting with great attention and by living, by behaving in such a way that we bring glory to the name to the whole world. So simultaneously, by properly chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Cheto Darpana Marajanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. We cleanse all of the selfish desires and attachments from the heart. It is essential. The basis of all of our purity, the basis of all good qualities that are awakened in the heart of a devotee is born from the name of God. What is that verse? It is explained, Yasyatma Buddhi Kunabe Dridhaduke. What is that? One who thinks himself this body is, and who is relating to all of these external designations, is like ass or cow consciousness. But it is also explained in the Bhagavatam that one who is truly a devotee of the Lord, chanting the name of the Lord, all the good qualities of God, the sages, and the demigods are manifest in that person's life. So by chanting the holy name, by glorifying the holy name, all these good qualities are awakened within our life from the realized platform. But what does it mean to glorify the name? First of all, to regularly chant attentively. Japa means in your own life, personally and privately, and kirtan in the association of devotees. They are both absolutely essential. To loudly chant the kirtan in the association of devotees, and to privately sit in the chant, the japa, quietly or silently. These are the two processes which are essential for cleansing the heart. But by our service attitude throughout the day toward one another and toward the world, this is also, everything we do is the glorification of the holy name. And this is why Prabhupada used to tell us that everything within this Hare Krishna movement that is done under the direction of the spiritual master is kirtan. Because it is glorifying the holy name. We are preaching that it is the name of God that is the source of everything we do and the goal of everything we do. And our behavior and our words in every aspect of our life is what is either glorifying or belittling the power and the glory of the name. In this way, our whole life should be kirtan. And this is such a wonderful opportunity. Such a captive audience. Here in Vaishnava Dham, the holy land of Sri Radharani. These wonderful Brijvasis. Talk about a captive audience. They cannot go anywhere. They are simply with you. They're eating the food. They have nothing to eat but the food you give them. They're completely dependent and subordinate to the care that you offer them. If you misuse them in any way, it will be the greatest disservice to the name of God. But if you treat them with dignity, if you treat them as a Vaishnava is supposed to deal with others, it is a great, great glorification. Magnificent glorification. And in the background, they hear the holy name being chanted. And they know that this is the substance of the compassion and devotion of all of these people, is the name of God. Huh? And the spirit that we acquire through this selfless service that we are aspiring to render here in Vaishnava, it doesn't end here. The spirit should fortify the unity of devotion amongst all of us, so that when we go back to the Bombay or to anywhere else, we have that much more spiritual strength. We have that much more spiritual power. We have that much more spiritual inspiration that through our lives we glorify the chanting of Krishna's name. We glorify the mercy of our spiritual masters. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Is there any questions? Yes.
Maharaj, Jay and Vijay obviously are self-realized souls because they are in the Vaikuntha planets. I mean, a self-realized soul can commit an offense. What is then the position of conditioned souls like us?
One thing you must consider is they were not in Vaikuntha. They were at the gate of Vaikuntha.
What does that mean, Maharaj?
That means they weren't inside yet. They were just on the border. Huh? When you actually attain that state of entering into the Leela of the Lord, there is no question of such an activity. But even if you do misuse your independence, there will be a reaction. But they were just on the border of Vaikuntha. Huh? And yet they were so close, just right there, but not quite there. but because they made this offense, they fell down to the material world. Huh? What is our position? We are very long distance from that border. Therefore, we must be very careful. We must be extraordinarily careful. That is why Krishna uses such exalted personalities to set the example for the rest of us. What to speak of the Yadus? The Yadu dynasty were Krishna's relatives. And yet they committed an offense to Narada Muni, Parvat Muni, and the other sages. And because of that, they were cursed to all kill one another. Krishna arranged that just to show whoever you are, even if you are Krishna's own personal relatives, if you commit offense against Vaishnavas and saintly persons, there will be terrible reaction. So we should be very careful. When we want dignity to be shown to us, then what happens is we have to compete with others. And then we commit offenses. And then when we commit offenses on that basis of envy, then Krishna becomes very disturbed with us. And there will be reaction. Most definitely. Therefore, we must become learned in the science of Krishna consciousness. That it is why it is essential to hear Srimad Bhagavatam every day. Essential. Because it reminds us of all of these very, very important factors for developing our spiritual lives. If we are not hearing regularly from the Shastra and from the Guru and from the Sadhus, then we become inattentive in our spiritual lives. We become complacent. We become unaware. And then we are put in a very dangerous condition. Is there any other questions? Yes.
Consciousness and external acting and behavior, they are related or they are independent?
They are related. According to your consciousness, according to your thoughts and desires, that is what will provoke words and action. Therefore, we have to go right to the root of the problem, which is our material desires and material attachments. And the holy name and devotional service goes right to the root of that problem and purifies our heart. But in the meanwhile, while this purification is taking place, on the external level, we must be very careful to tolerate any inclinations toward offensive activity. And if we simultaneously perform the austerity of restraining our mind and senses, and at the same time continue with the process of devotional service, chanting and hearing the holy names and glories of the Lord, and very quickly we become purified. If we do not contemplate and keep our mind endeavoring to be fixed on Krishna, if we allow our mind to unrestrictedly contemplate the objects of the senses and envious and selfish thoughts, then it is just a matter of time till those thoughts force us into offensive words and behavior. Therefore, when these thoughts come into our mind, we must refrain from giving in to them, and we must struggle and strain to replace them with holy thoughts. This is tapasya. This is real austerity. Yes?
We are nothing but instruments in the hands of Supreme Lord. We are getting some to some extent we are getting this realization here. Is it because of we are away from our everyday life, or we are at the dham? How to keep it constant?
By regularly associating with devotees, by regularly reading Bhagavatam, by regularly chanting the holy names, by keeping this regulation, the same spirit could remain alive in our lives. Radha Gopinath Temple is also the holy dham, is it not? If we regularly go there, that same type of divine purification will continue in our life. Wherever the association of devotees is, wherever devotees are coming together to serve the Lord, to serve society in God's name, to chant the holy names, that is holy dham. Of course, it is very special to come to such a land as Vrindavan Dham. It is a very special opportunity. Every moment is so priceless and precious in our lives. It cannot be calculated. What to speak of coming to the Dham, not just to enjoy it, but to come to the Dham and the association of devotees to serve the Dham and to serve the residents of the holy Dham. That is the greatest fortune. Most people, when they come to Vrindavan, they come simply to enjoy. Something like tourists. They come to buy some souvenirs, to get some pious credits in their life. And that's good. That's important. But how much infinitely more valuable it is to come to the holy Dham to render service, to perform the austerity, the sacrifice of helping others. This is a great service. And therefore, really, it is Krishna's mercy that we are here. And Sri Radharani's mercy especially that we are here in Barsano. But the Spirit, first of all, let me say that most people, when they come to Vrindavan Dham, they cannot capture the Spirit that you are, because they are not coming in that mood of servitude. They are coming in a mood of enjoyment. So therefore, it is a rare benediction. And that spirit that you acquire here and that we acquire here, we should bring with us and share with the rest of the world wherever we go. Srila Prabhupada used to tell us, a greater service than simply staying in Vrindavan is to come to Vrindavan, to absorb the spirit of Vrindavan, and then to go out into the world and spread the glories of Vrindavan wherever you go.
Where we feel we may commit such an offense against the Vaishnava. Because as it has been seen in previously through the Prabhupada's time, that many devotees who were very much in contact with the Prabhupada, they were thought in that way, where they have less movement. So is it advisable that we should not come very much in contact with the senior guru or representative of guru?
We should not become materially familiar. We should not have such a casual relationship with senior Vaishnavas. We should have a relationship of reverence and servitude. To maintain a respectful distance with our spiritual master. Meaning, we don't simply want to just freely, what they say in America, hang out. Just be with. We should go to the spiritual master for service, to hear the glories of the Lord. We should go to the spiritual master and the senior Vaishnavas to either offer our service in humility and reverence, or to confide and receive spiritual direction. Not simply to just have useless, just, you're all right, I'm all right. Otherwise, because our consciousness is so conditioned, if we have this type of relationship which is not based on service and reverence, then what happens is we start just thinking our own consciousness drags our vision to think that it's just a normal, ordinary relationship, just like I have with my brother or my sister or my friends. I have the same relationship with my guru. Then we will commit offense. We should be coming in a mood of service. But if you do not come, that is also an offense. It is just like the example is if you have an eye and you're looking at terrible things with your eye, things that are polluting your consciousness. Or you can go to the temple and look at the deity. Or you could take your eye out. Right? So someone may say, well, I'm looking at all these dirty things with my eyes, so let me just pluck it out. Is that good? Use your eye for the right purpose. So it is correct that if we're in the association of devotees and we're committing offenses, that's bad. But to not associate with devotees because we're afraid of committing offenses is like plucking your eyeball out. No, you associate with the devotees, but you do it properly. If you do not associate, if you associate and commit offenses, you go down. If you do not associate, you go down. If you associate properly, you go up. So this is a nonsense consciousness, that I commit too many offenses, so I will not associate. This is not sincere.
Particularly with those people in the senior position, Prabhupada times, Secretary Prabhupada, and those people, they try, most of them have just committed offense because they come to know several things which otherwise they are not supposed to know.
That is not true. Not with Prabhupada. None of them have left Prabhupada because they knew things that they were not supposed to know. Where do you get this nonsense? I have never heard it. Those who were close with Prabhupada left because when you're next to fire, you have to be hot like fire, otherwise you get burnt. Prabhupada was so intensely Krishna conscious because they were not trying to keep up with his Krishna consciousness. They could not maintain that position. Prabhupada used to tell us, if you're going to go near fire, you have to be hot like fire, otherwise you're going to get burnt to ashes. You could come near, but then you have to. But if you're going to stay right there, you have to become hot like the fire. It is because they had too many material attachments, and they wanted to cling in the presence of Prabhupada, who was demanding such absolute surrender in a physical proximity every day, because they were still attached to their material aspirations. They cracked. They couldn't handle it. That's the reason anyone left from that service. But every one of those people practically still loves Prabhupada and still considers he's the supreme guru of all gurus, but they just couldn't do it. Hardly a one of those people you're talking about have turned against Prabhupada or even criticized Prabhupada in any way. Practically every one of them, they worship Prabhupada's lotus feet from the core of their hearts, but they just can't live up to the standard. That's the condition of everyone that you're talking about. Even at New Vrindavan, one of Prabhupada's servants is there. He's not very strict devotee because he was just too much, but at the same time, he just worships the feet of Prabhupada as his life and soul. But he just can't follow. Everyone is like that. It's not a question of knowing things they shouldn't have known. Any other questions?
Associate devotees with physically or his instructions?
There are two types of association. Vapu means physical association, and Vani means to associate by following the instruction. Of the two, Vani is most important, because the Vani, the instruction of the Guru, if we are sincere, we will never be separated from that. But the physical presence, sometimes we have the opportunity and sometimes we do not. But the purpose of the Vapu is to inspire you to take shelter of the Vani. The purpose of the physical association of a great personality is simply one thing, to inspire you to take shelter of his instruction. If simply coming into the presence of the spiritual master or any great Vaishnava, we are not being inspired to surrender to his order, to his instruction, that physical association is worth practically nothing. It's minimal. It is the instruction of the Guru that is our eternal relationship with the Guru. Serving that instruction, even when the Guru goes back to Vaikuntha, to the spiritual world, and leaves this world, we have as much his presence through his instruction as if we're sitting right at his feet. Wherever we are serving his order, we are in the presence of our Guru. So our entire life is based on surrendering to the word, the instruction, the order of Guru. And he comes and allows us to be in his presence simply because that presence is so wonderfully helpful to inspire us to take shelter of those words, of his instruction. So we should know this is why we come into the presence of our spiritual master physically, and this is why the spiritual master gives us his physical presence, to help encourage us to take shelter of His word, His instruction, so that wherever we are, we will always be in His divine presence. And we see, like Mahaprabhu was saying, in Srila Prabhupada's case, those people who had such close physical proximity with Srila Prabhupada, those who really took to heart that his physical presence was inspiring me to surrender to his desire, to surrender to his instruction, those people are stronger than ever today. But those people who simply enjoyed his physical presence but did not utilize that physical presence to help understand and surrender to his word, his instruction, after he left, they didn't know what to do. After he left this world, they thought, he's gone. But we realize he's not gone. He's living forever in his word. He's living forever in his mission. He's living forever in his instruction to take shelter of the holy name. Srila Prabhupada is my Gurudev. Sitting here just discussing these things with you now, I am feeling Prabhupada's presence more than I ever did when I was sitting right 6 inches from his lotus feet. It is a fact. Gurudev is not material. His mercy is beyond time and beyond space. His mercy is fully available wherever we are serving his mission. And he will be there personally to protect us, to guide us, to encourage us wherever we are serving.